By Suzanne Byrne, business reporter. Image copyright Art in Zips. Image caption: Sip and paint classes are held from New York to Dubai, London to Hong Kong. More and more of us are attending so-called sip and paint classes, where you learn to paint while enjoying a drink or two. But can you hone your skills while under the influence of alcohol? It's Thursday night, and instead of catching up with friends or cooking at home, my eyes are firmly focused on a picture of Banks's girl with balloon mural, as I nervously wait to try and replicate the famous artwork. The first thing I need to tell you is that this is not a serious art class, announces our teacher, Gareth Shelton, as 18 of us anxiously play with our paintbrushes. He then gives us step-by-step instructions on what brush strokes to try and which shades of acrylics to mix. There's a collective sigh of relief, especially from this novice who hasn't picked up a paintbrush since leaving school. Image copyright Gareth Shelton. Image caption writer Susie Byrne attended a pop-up paint class in London, but I needn't be too anxious. It's pretty clear this painting session isn't your standard art class. For starters, rather than being holed up a quiet classroom, we're on the top floor of a pub in central London, where a playlist of indie tunes from the likes of Oasis and The Killers is being blasted out. And while I'm clutching a brush in my right hand, my left is wrapped around a large glass of Sauvignon Blanc. While the brush may help me unlock my creative genius, the wine is helping quell my nerves. Over the last decade, sip and paint classes have taken off around the world, and can now be found in New York, Dubai, London and Hong Kong. Image caption Art in Zips says drinking while drawing can unlock your creative side. Expert says it's largely been driven by millennial consumers, who increasingly prefer to spend their cash on experiences, such as gigs and holidays, rather than material items. In a typical session, an artist will teach you how to paint or draw a particular artwork while you enjoy a few drinks and socialize. The alcohol is sometimes included in the ticket price. We wanted to get rid of the stuffy art class image, explains Mr. Shelton, who set up pop-up painting with his mother in London 2013 after attending a similar session in the US. When people are going for drinks after work, they are hungry for something different to do. Wine makes it more interesting and makes people less anxious. Image caption Art in Zips has been running painting and nude drawing classes in Copenhagen since last year. The company has now expanded to Birmingham and Manchester and runs 3,040 events a month. Classes cost £2,535 for a 2.5-hour session, and Mr. Shelton says sales have risen 20% in the past year. It plans to open in Sheffield and Liverpool next year. Art in Zips has been running painting and nude drawing classes in Copenhagen since last year. Founder Nama Birluch says drinking while drawing can help people explore their creative side, especially those who don't consider themselves artistic. More stories from the BBC's Business Brain series looking at interesting business topics from around the world. How the grilled cheese sandwich went gourmet. The firm's being creative with food destined for the bin. Is the taboo around male makeup disappearing? But is this just about having fun, or can you learn something, too? You can definitely learn. A glass of champagne or a cocktail are a great way to loosen up and be less critical of yourself. No one ever drinks too much at the events, adds Ms. Birluch. Normally guests have 1 or 2 drinks during the event because they are so engaged. That takes the focus away from the nearby bar. Arguably, the biggest sip and paint firm is Paint Night. Since launching in 2012, it has held events across the US and Canada and attracted more than 4 million customers. Image copyright Paint Night. Image caption experts say millennial consumers prefer to spend their cash on experiences like art classes rather than material items, with revenues of $55 million, £41 million in 2016, up dramatically since 2012. It was ranked the second fastest growing company in the US last year by Inc. magazine. The firm specializes in painting for the fun of it, but co-founder Dan Herman says people are generally very surprised and proud of what they create. He is also open about who the company's audience is, mainly 25 to 50-something women who make up around 85% of customers. We do target that demographic, but men are totally welcome and we would like to attract more. The Evening Standard's Ben Olsen believes the drink and draw market will keep growing as young people seek out quirkier alternatives to a night in the pub. Image copyright Paint Night. Image caption Paint Night, founded by Sean McGrail Left and Dan Herman, is one of America's fastest growing companies. Artsy pursuits, which now come in a variety of genre-bending forms, graffiti schools, crafting classes and floristry, all provide a positive platform for channeling creative energies, widening the field for would-be daters and also just getting people out of their houses. However, there are challenges. For one thing, competition is mounting, particularly in the US where hundreds of companies now run events. Drink and draw nights may not work in every location either. Mr. Shelton says when they try to open in Brighton they struggle to attract interest. He blames the fact many of the city's residents work in London and prefer to take evening classes in the capital. Image copyright Paint Night. Image caption Paint Night says it wants people to have fun while they paint. Also, I think a higher proportion of Brighton-based activities are crafty anyway, and people move there because of that culture. We therefore weren't such a unique offering. Over in Chelsea as we wrap up and assess each other's creations, I speak to Tehal Kanji, 26, whose version of the Banksy mural is far better than my own. She says SHES had a good time, and that this is her third class in 2 weeks. I thought it would be fun and something different to do. I hadn't painted since I was at school but it's made me more confident, she says, her nearly finished Jack Daniels and Coke standing next to her canvas. After the Class 1 visit another pub where my Banksy receives compliments from a number of well-oiled punters. But the next day I fear alcohol may have clouded their judgment, and decide my artwork is better left under the stairs than above my mantelpiece.